sometimes called the unit turn because the entire body is turning sideways as a unit. Now you can also see that they both have their hands on the tennis racket. Their hands are still on the racket. They are not using their arms to take the racket back side to side right now. It's the shoulder turn that is starting the racket take back. Once they pivoted and turned their shoulders, now they can move on to fundamental number 2, which is to take the racket all the way back. And they do this by first releasing the tennis racket with their non-hitting hand, and they use their hitting arm to get the racket all the way back. And you'll notice that their backswings look different. Roddick's elbow, for example, is cocked up a little bit higher, but at the completion of the backswing, they both have the racket all the way back. Doesn't matter that it might look a little bit different. Now, you can also see that when they release the tennis racket with a non-hitting arm, they extend that arm out across their body, about shoulder high and in line with the baseline for balance of the oncoming tennis ball. Finally, these guys are taking a couple steps to get themselves positioned for the tennis ball. But once they've got the racket back and their non-hitting arm extended out across their body, they both have the weight loaded up on their outside leg, despite how they were moving prior to that. All the weight's on the outside leg, and this body position they're both in allows them to swing forward correctly in the next step. To get to contact, they had to do 3 things all at the same time. Let's focus on their feet to start. Both these guys are going to push off their outside legs as they swing. Now we're going to focus on their upper bodies. They're sideways right now, but as they swing to contact, their bodies rotate back towards the net. They're more or less facing the net at contact. Finally, if we go back to the completion of the preparation, they're going to drop the tennis racket down and swing forward, and you can see that the path that the racket travels along sort of looks like the letter C. Now, if we watch this motion from the completion of the preparation one more time, let's watch the entire thing. You can see they do all these 3 things at the same time to get to their contact point, which is out in front of their body, and the strings are more or less flat on the back of the ball. From contact, the 4th fundamental is the follow. Once the ball leaves their strings, both these guys are going to continue to rotate their bodies after they hit. That allows them to slow their body down nice and smooth. We go back to contact, they're going to extend out in the direction that they're hitting the tennis ball, and once they've done that, they're going to turn their forearm and wrist over as one piece, like they have a watch on, they're trying to see what time it is, and then they're going to bring the racket across their body in a smooth and relaxed motion. We go back to contact and watch the entire follow-through, fundamental number 4. You'll see that this motion allows them to slow themselves and the tennis racket down smoothly. Let's go back to the start of both these guys' forehands, and we're going to talk about that 5th fundamental, the continuous swing path. So right now these guys have pivoted and turned their shoulders, and they've got both hands on the tennis racket. But what we're going to do is play this in slow motion but not stop a clip. And you'll see that both these guys keep the racket moving over the course of the backswing, into the foreswing, and into the follow-through. Let's look at some of the top women on tour, Anna Ivanovic and Daniela Pontikova, and see how they execute these 5 fundamentals. Here they are at the beginning of their motion. We have fundamental number 1, pivot in the shoulder turn. Their bodies turn sideways, both hands are still on the tennis racket. Fundamental number 2, the racket comes back, other arm extends out across the body, all the weight is loaded up on the outside leg. Fundamental number 3, swing into contact. Push off the outside leg, body rotates back towards the net, racket drops down, and swings to contact. Fundamental 4, the follow-through. Body continues to rotate, they extend out in the direction they're hitting, turn their forearm and wrist over like they have a watch on, and bring the racket across their body in a smooth and relaxed motion. Let's go back to the beginning of the entire motion and look at that 5th fundamental, the continuous swing path. Once they release the racket with a non-hitting hand, the racket never stops moving through contact and into the follow-through. We've just seen the 5 fundamentals of the forehand in 3 of the top men on tour and 2 of the top women. Now I want to show you a bunch more pros, Nadal, Del Potro, Sapina, and so on. But I'm going to stop talking because I want you to focus. When you watch these players hit the tennis ball, when you watch them hit their forehands, see for yourself if you can identify these 5 fundamentals for each and every one of these pros' forehands. we've just spent 2 days talking about 5 things, the 5 fundamentals necessary to hit a forehand. And you're probably saying to yourself, geez, Will, you've been harping on this same stuff. You showed me some cool footage, but you keep repeating these 5 fundamentals. You sound like a broken record. I've got it. You don't need to talk about it anymore. So why exactly are we harping on this stuff so much? Well, tomorrow we are going to look at our amateur players. They volunteer to be filmed, and we've got a guy who just started, a beginner, and we have up to a guy who played in high school. A wide range of skills in there. And we are going to compare their strokes with the professionals